had intended to withdraw partially from my retirement savings, which were coming from the pension of being an employee of the state for about 15 years. I experienced difficulties because of the cost and the charges. If I recall very well, the pension was somewhere at around 800,000 odds, and the percentage of tax and all that was making the whole idea not feasible. I asked Gundu for advice on any other idea on how best I could finance. And I was advised against the the withdrawal of the retirement savings that I spoke about. And in those discussions, Gundu then informed me and advised of a loan product that they have that I could access. In consideration for the options loan, Gundu was not a service provider, as I had said. There existed no conflict in my view in securing a loan from Gundu. I took a decision to proceed with the business, and the following steps ensued. In September 2016, on the 26th, I concluded the registration of T5, which was coming from a previous company that I had incorporated, which was called Golden Threads. On the 30th, I signed with both Gundu and Recovet. Recovet was the owner of the coffee shop where I was purchasing from. Following that loan agreement, 575,600 was paid to Recovet by Gundu Wealth Solutions. The capital advance was repaid as provided for in the loan agreement by 3 installments. And the installments were paid from the FNB business account of T5 and Sylvana's events to Gundu Wealth Netbank account on the following dates. The 9th of October 2020, the 12th of November 2020, and the 7th of January 2021. Chair, I would like to contextualize the reasoning and the timing for the payment. T5 and Golden Threads carried for about 3 years the establishment of the coffee shop. In 2019, in October was the exact time that Sylvana was able to have its account, now trying to be running above board in terms of not being dependent on T5 and Golden Threads. And that was 2019. Preparations were made between myself and Gundu to commence with the payment after the coffee shop had been fully registered in 2019. Prior that, the business T5, to assist the operation of the coffee shop, it was servicing Recovet on the other portion that couldn't be paid from the 575, including rental, including equipment, which some Recovet left and it had to be paid. In March 2020, in fact, in February or somewhere there, we started getting calls from the Office of the National Treasury and Provincial Treasury, meeting the 12 municipalities and informing us that the bank will be going under administration and they would want to commence with the forensics. I informed Mr. Rallium, because I was now supposed to start with the repayment, that I will hold the repayment until the Limpopo provincial investigations are concluded. In total, it was 12 municipalities. If you go to their report, I think Polokwane is chapter 13 of the report. The investigation took about 18 to 20 months. I may not be exact in terms of calculations. But on the 9th, the very same day I made the payment, was the day I officially received the report in hand as the mayor from Limpopo Provincial Treasury. Because the investigation were concluded and I had fully participated, those who have got experience of understanding that you will then be called, you will have to provide documents, you will have to provide municipal council resolutions, etc. That process was undertaken and all of us participated from the investment management committee to the executive mayor. I made the first payment on that day, on the 9th of October 2020. And again on the 12th of November, and the final one, totaling around 849,000, with an interest calculated at about 11.2 or so % at the time. So in excess of about 250 was the interest that was paid to Gundu. I've touched a bit on the Limpopo Treasury investigations. It is important that I indicate to the House that the investigations will obviously come with remedial action and corrective measures. Paragraph 18.92 of that report didn't spare me as the executive mayor from a corrective measure. And I'm quoting it. It is recommended that corrective action be considered against the executive mayor, Ting Kadimeng, in that she failed to comply with Section 52 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. Considering that Polokwane municipality did not incur any losses, and I as a mayor was proactive enough to order the withdrawal of investment, as I indicated even before National Treasury wrote to us, and the money of council was paid back with its interest into the municipal account. Upon response, we were then taken back again into the Standard Bank, which is the municipal account, by the forensic to go and prove together with the bank as to whether the money was paid truly into the bank, and that step was undertaken. And the corrective measure was sanctioned to go either to University of Pretoria or the University of Witwatersrand, which are the only ones that offers, jointly with LG SITA, that is local government SITA, a program which is designed by National Treasury called Municipal Finance Management Act. In short, we call it MFMP. It's a 2-year program. I took this corrective measure very seriously. I commenced with my studies the following year when universities opened in January. I registered, it was a block program. I will leave Polokwane every week to come and attend a block of the entire Municipal Finance Management Act in its entirety. I actually concluded, honorable members, this program after I was even no longer a mayor when I was a deputy minister. So ordinarily, if I had not taken that corrective measure seriously, I would have said, well, I'm no longer their mayor, I'm no longer on MFMA, but I will leave it. But I stuck to that 2 years. I concluded the program. I'd like to draw to a close and affirm that, one, there was no improper relationship. I requested for a loan. A loan was advanced. Interestingly, today I saw something circulating which I'd never heard, which indicates even from the other side that the transaction was Silvana's loan. Much has been said about the conflict of interest to the position I now hold. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development plays no role in decision making by the NPA on who to prosecute or not. The office I hold does not have a direct relationship in instructing or convincing the NPA on how to act on their mandate. On the matter of taking the loan, I've dealt with the allegations of conflict. And my understanding was that if you ask for assistance on someone who doesn't have a direct bearing or payment from the municipality, it is possible, and I repaid it back. When the president informed me that he is assigning me to this department, the issue of conflict of interest actually that crossed my mind was not this issue. It was an issue that I am, on behalf of my family, sitting in court on the case of my sister, that the NPA has placed charges on allegations of murder to PEP. That's what crossed my mind. I discussed it with the president as well, and we both came to a conclusion that it is a matter that is already sitting in court. I have got no say in it. It will live its life and it will come to its conclusion. And I decided that I will take the request by the president, because I also do believe that's what even the person that I thought I shouldn't take the responsibility because of her would have wanted me to put the people of South Africa first. And it was on those bases that I accepted the request by the president. And having convinced myself that even in that case, I cannot, will never be able to influence the NPA on how to do its work. And I wouldn't want to elaborate on the commitment I gave them in my first meeting on my willingness to assist and my willingness to be able to cooperate all the time on any needs that they have and work that they would want to do. Honorable Chair, thank you very much. The report, as I had said, give a bit of more detail than the summarized version that I had. And I would like to thank honorable members once more for the opportunity to come and talk to you. Thank you.
All right, so that then becomes the record statement by the Justice and Constitutional Development Minister, Thembi Simelane, her side of the story in terms of the allegations against her and the relationship with Gundo Investment Solutions. We're going to take you to news. Yes, we're slightly late. We will come back to that session.
In our top stories, SAMO welcomes court date for City of Tshwane review hearing and Mtata School to remain closed. Good morning. Municipal Workers Union SAMO says it's pleased that the Labour Court will now hear the City of Tshwane's review application in relation to complying with the terms of a wage settlement. In 2021, SAMO and Tshwane agreed to a 3-year wage increase at the local government bargaining council. According to SAMO, the agreement would see Tshwane municipal workers receive a 3.5% salary increase in the 2021-2022 financial year, year, 4.9% in 2022-2023 and a 5.4% in 2023-2024. However, the city has reneged on this, citing financial challenges among others. The Labour Court is set to hear the matter on the 28th of November this year. SAMU is an affiliate of COSATU spokesperson Zanele Sabela.
It is critical that SAMU emerges victorious from this court case. This matter of asserting workers' hard-won rights to a living wage, to protect their wages from inflationary erosion, and to expect their employer to honor a signed wage agreement is critical not only for the hard-working employees of the Tshwane municipality, but in fact thousands of municipal workers whose rights are under siege from unscrupulous employers who have mismanaged local government and now seek to make workers the victim.
The Ifata School for the Blind in Umtata remains closed after the school was threatened by extortionists. The Department of Education says criminals demanded 50,000 rand from the school's nurse, and that same demand was made to the school's principal. A TV, laptop and a mobile phone was taken by the criminals. A construction vehicle at the school was also torched and is believed to be linked to the extortion attempt. The Eastern Cape MEC for Education has urged the community to work with the police to bring the criminals to book. Noisile Mfanta collected a grandchild from the school.
I came here to fetch my child. I received a call yesterday afternoon and I was informed that parents have taken their children here. So that's why I came. I found him alone, and when I asked if he cried, he said he didn't cry. I couldn't sleep after the caretaker told me about the extortion thing. She said people came carrying big guns. I couldn't sleep. My head is still sore because I was thinking about my grandchild.
The Deputy President Paul Mashatile is today expected to monitor the progress of the multi-billion rand Giyani bulk water project. The over 4 billion rand project to draw water from Nandoni Dam outside Tohoyando to Giyani started a decade ago. Its completion has been delayed due to alleged corruption and maladministration. 55 villages are set to benefit from clean running water upon completion. Michael Mukungo reports.
Mashatile's visit comes 2 years after President Cyril Ramaphosa visited the project. He will be accompanied by Water and Sanitation Minister Penny Majodina and the Deputy David Mahlobo. Several deadlines to complete the project have been missed. The Giyani bulk water project started in 2010 and was initially scheduled for completion in 2014. It began as a 90 million rand project, but has skyrocketed to over 4 billion rand.
And finally, at least 17 children have died in a fire at a school in Nyeri, central Kenya. Police say the fire at a dormitory at Hillside Indarashe Academy has also injured 14 students. Local media reports that the victims are burnt beyond recognition. An investigation into the cause of the fire is currently underway. The BBC's Andrew Uchieng reports.
Officials said the exact cause of the fire remains unknown and investigations are underway to determine that. It is believed to have started at around midnight when most of the students were asleep. Emergency responders arrived at the scene to contain the fire, but reports say the flames spread quickly, making it difficult to rescue all the students. Although school fires are common in Kenyan boarding schools, where some are started by students during unrest, it is rare that they are deadly. In 2017, 10 girls were killed at a high school in the capital Nairobi when a fire burnt down their dormitory.
Recapping the top story, Municipal Workers Union SAMU says it's pleased that the Labour Court will now hear the City of Tshwane's review application in relation to complying with the terms of a wage settlement. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
So why should I use We Buy Cars if I want to sell my vehicle?
Because We Buy Cars buys cars.
But will I get the right price?
Of course. We Buy Cars buys thousands of vehicles and knows exactly what every vehicle is worth. Their buyers deliver exceptional service and pay you immediately.
And how do I know what they'll pay for my vehicle?
It's easy. Visit webuycars.co.za or use the We Buy Cars app. Follow the simple steps and voila, you'll know your car's value in no time. We Buy Cars. Quick, easy, the best.
Mzansi, play Powerball for the guaranteed 90 million rand this Friday and you could win the life-changing jackpot. Don't miss out. Play Powerball now and get in the game for your chance to become the next big multi-millionaire. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Amatax ladies target all 3 essential points to climb up the ladder, but the ladies from eThekwini plan to demonstrate a sense of urgency to move from the bottom half. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Catch Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game. University of Pretoria Ladies FC versus Durban Ladies FC on Saturday, 7 September at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Tune in to catch the rebirth of Murango's new season on SABC2 every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. and experience the drama and excitement with new intriguing characters. It's a renaissance of new beginnings, love, secrets and betrayal. Remember, that's every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. on SABC2.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to The Talking Point. Welcome to the second hour of the show. Of course, we're still keeping a close eye on the appearance of the Justice and Constitutional Minister, Thembi Semelani, before the Portfolio Committee on Justice, explaining the allegations around her and the VBS matter. So we're going to take you live to Parliament. We've already heard the statement that she made. Now it's MPs who are posing questions to her.
Of 274,399, that's practically 50%. And in fact, it works out to 47%. 47% interest on a loan that, in the bigger scheme of things, is not even huge. Why would you enter into such a one-sided transaction when you could have gone to a real bank and gotten a real loan at a real interest rate? It makes no commercial sense whatsoever, none. And so it makes the whole transaction, forgive me, look exceptionally suspicious. Also, the timing thereof is exceptionally suspicious. Money flows from the municipality to VBS, money flows from VBS to Ganda, money flows from Ganda to the purchase of the coffee shop, all in the space of a very short period of time. It may be a coincidence, but in a long time of operating in the criminal justice system, I've learned to be very suspicious of a confluence of coincidences. And normally, they point to trouble. And I see no reason to have less suspicion about this entire matter. So if you could help me with that. I'm also then interested in the name of the investment group, T5 Investment Group. Where did the name come from? Was it a shelf company? And if not, what does the T5 stand for? Your name is Thembi. Is it related to you somehow? Have you got 5 investment companies? Is that what the 5 is for? I would be interested to know more about the name. Then I'll move off of that subject because I'm sure that my colleagues have questions and will cover it, but I must deal with the glaring current conflict of interest that certainly exists, whether you want to see it or not, Minister, with respect. That certainly exists between yourself and the National Prosecuting Authority. We all remember, some of us more painfully than others, the demise of Advocate Vusi Pikoli as the National Director of Public Prosecutions when Jackie Selebi was prosecuted. And he wouldn't back down. he was instructed to not proceed with the prosecution by the Minister of Justice. He refused to do that because Vusi Pikoli is an honorable man. And he lost his job because of it, much to the absolute destruction of the NPA. Because what happened at the NPA after Mr. Pikoli left could not have happened while he was there. And I think we all know that, and I think you know that too. And he was fired then because there was this supposed breakdown of a relationship between himself and the Justice Minister, who at the time was Minister, I think, Mabandla. Now, if it is so as you want us to believe here, that there's absolutely no possibility of a Justice Minister having any influence over the NPA, and I agree with you, there should be no such influence, and the NPA should tolerate no such influence, none. It's a non-thing, it should never be allowed, but we live in the real world, and we've seen this happen. And so it's not true that the Justice Minister does not have influence over the NPA, even if it's a very subtle influence. Of course you do. And how you choose to exercise it is, of course, up to the Justice Minister. And I've not got any reason to suggest that you've done anything untoward in that regard, and I'm not suggesting it. But perceptions, Minister, are everything. And the public and myself see the justice system as a pyramid. And there's the police, and there's the NPA, and there's the Department of Justice, and then there's you. And you sit at the top of that pyramid. And that's inescapable. It's an ineluctable conclusion that you cannot sit on top of the pyramid while a matter such as this is being investigated. Because it is being investigated. As we read this morning in the papers, the Hawks have executed search and seizure warrants in Polokwane on the office that you occupied. And they're clearly investigating, amongst other things, this transaction. And so there's an inescapable problem there. And there is a conflict of interest. And it doesn't matter how honorably you conduct yourself. It matters that perceptions are everything. And my perception, and I'm sure the perception of the public at large, is that you cannot continue to sit on the top of this pyramid while this matter is pending. So I'd like your view on that. It is a fact. And again, I want to stress this is not personal. It is a fact. It is a perception. It can't be thought away. It doesn't matter how honorably you conduct yourself. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Bredenbach. Honorable Dana.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. Excuse me.
Sir, Honorable Dana. Honorable Mfalo. What is that?
No, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I'm not sure with the modus operandi that you've espoused in running this inquiry. I don't think it will be fair to...
First of all, Mr. Nambala, this is not an inquiry.
Okay, whatever it is. But I'm saying I don't think it will be fair to ask many questions. I think there must be a limit, Chair, that two speakers must ask or one speaker must ask, and then we allow the minister to respond.
No problem. What we'll do, we'll group you as the first round and the second round. So we're going to take those who raise their hands late as a second round. Is that fine?
But if you can wait for me to finish, Chair.
Okay.
The point that I'm making, Chair, is that the honorable member that has asked questions, she has asked many questions. I think about 10 questions she has asked with many propositions. And maybe from her primary questions, there might be follow-up questions, maybe from another speaker. So I don't think that it is rational to allow many people to ask questions without dealing or responding to the first questions first. So, Chair, my advice to you is that let the minister respond to the questions asked to her first before you allow a second person to answer. To ask questions.
No, it's not going to be effective. We are going to drag us to a kind of a one-on-one kind of questioning. I think it was fine when you said at least to let the speakers not be many, so that we allow the minister to respond to the first batch of questions, then we take a second round. Everyone who wants to ask is going to be allowed that chance to ask. So what I will do now, I will take Honorable Dana, I will take Honorable Trolip and Honorable Swat, then allow the minister to respond. Then come back to Honorable Tsotetsi, Mutaung, Klopa, and Ngaba. The second round. So I think it will be fair if we do it like that, so that we avoid having a question to question. Of course, if there are follow-ups, they are going to be allowed after responses. Honorable Matafa.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I apologize for doing this to you and to the meeting. I don't want to question your judgment, but initially I was going to support the first proposal that you have made. But my intervention, Chair, it's mainly on the fact that we are sitting in many meetings. Myself, I'm debating in another mini plenary, and I was hoping that by the time that my slot comes up, I would have asked questions, and the approach that we would have taken would have assisted in that regard. So my request is it possible that you allow me or give me preference, unless if there are others that are going to debate, that I come in, and should I be called in another meeting, I can excuse myself. I apologize, Chair. That is my only plea.
Fine, then we'll take you after Mr. Swart. Honorable Dana, proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. Good morning, Minister, and thank you for appearing here in front of us today. I must echo my colleague, Honorable Breitenbach, in saying that there's no animosity. This is a fact-finding mission as part of our very important oversight responsibility. Minister, I have 6 questions. My first question is, and thank you for your report, but I don't see that the loan agreement with Gondo Wealth Solutions has been provided. So I'd like to know, is this loan agreement available? Can we have a copy of this loan agreement? Has it been given to the President or anyone else? We'd like to see this loan agreement, Minister. And then you also mention in your report that you spoke to Gondo Wealth Solutions and gained financial advice from them. They, for instance, advised you that you should not take from your pension fund to invest in the coffee shop. But I'd like to know, Minister, why would you take financial advice from an institution that is not a registered financial credit provider, and also then proceed to take a loan from them with an interest rate of nearly 50%? It does not sound to me like a good financial decision after you've gotten financial advice from this institution. So I'd just like to understand your thinking around that. And then, Minister, I'd like to know, was the entire purchase price, because I can't see it in any of the information that we received or any of the media reports, what was the entire purchase price of the coffee shop? Was it only 500,000 Rand? I struggle to believe that the coffee shop in Sandton would cost only 500,000 Rand. And if it was more than 500,000 Rand, how did you finance the balance of the purchase price of the coffee shop? You mentioned in your report that the appointment of Gondo was approved by a council resolution with the reference number there, MC 13304/2016. Did the council question the appointment of an investment advisor to the municipality regarding millions of rands working? And yet this investment solution company was appointed with no fee structure, apparently working for free. So did you find that suspicious? Did anyone question it? Did anyone say something about that? And you also mentioned in your report that you had nothing to do with the investment committee. It was under the purview of the municipal manager, and the municipal manager and the investment committee made the decisions according to the procedure to invest with VBS Bank. And yet you mentioned now with your opening address, that you gave the order to disinvest with VBS. So if you had nothing to do with the investment committee, was that within your powers to give the order to disinvest? And was it only based on the circular that was sent by Treasury regarding VBS, or was it based on any other decision? And then lastly, Minister, for this round, I'd just like to know, did you ever declare your dealings with VBS Mutual Bank in your official declarations of interest? Do the President, maybe after you became Minister, did you say anything? You said you sat with the Minister, you told him about another pending case regarding your sister that was now in court. Did you declare or disclose the fact that you took a loan from VBS? Because as you know, as we've seen in the media as well, anyone, whether it be above board or not, and as my colleague said, nothing with regards to VBS is actually above board because they were dishing out money that was in effect stolen from pensioners and people who actually needed it. So you must have known that anyone, any person that had dealings with VBS would be tainted. So I'd like to know if you ever at any stage declared that you did take a loan from VBS and what the dealings was with regards to that. Thank you, Chair. That's my questions for now.
Thank you, Honourable Trolip.
Thank you, Chair. You'll excuse me if I overlap a little bit, but I think it's bound to happen. First of all, just for clarity, when the Minister does answer, will she be answering under oath? Just for the record. And I note that the Minister was a councillor for many years. She was the Deputy President and the President of SALGA. She was the Mayor from 2014 to 2021. She understands the MFMA, the PFMA. She even told us that she studied further for an additional 2 years. So that all helps for additional 2 years. So that all helps for context. To say there are no fees payable by the municipality might be technically correct, but we know that there was 24.2 million rand in commission paid by VBS to Gundo Investments, and those commissions were lost to the bank. So there was a significant loss of public funding. And if you understand the MFMA and the PFMA, why did you not use the municipality's bank? You said Standard Bank was their bank. Why was the money not invested in Standard Bank? There's no denial that the 349 million rand was invested in VBS, so we assume that you accept that that was done. I would like to know if there is a loan agreement and that we could be furnished with that loan agreement and what the repayment terms were in that loan agreement. Because as my colleagues have said, 45% plus interest on the capital loan is exorbitant, and I would not understand why a financial advisor would advise you to do that. My next question is, did you declare the loan when you were the mayor of Polokwane to the municipality, because you were a public office bearer? Did you declare it when you were a minister in the previous administration, in your member's declaration? And did you declare ownership of the coffee shop and bistro in that declaration? Did you declare the loans and ownership of the coffee shop to the BDO investigation in 2018, 2019, because there appears to be no reference to that, and BDO questioned you around the investments? You also say that as the mayor, you instructed the municipality to withdraw the VBS investment 2 months before Treasury's instruction, yet you claim to have no investment responsibility as the mayor. Gundo Financial Solutions or Wealth Management is not a financial services provider. So therefore, why were you approaching them for a loan if they aren't an FSP? And then the source of income to make the 3 payments of 283,000 rand on 3 occasions. What was the source of income? If you weren't able to finance the purchase of the coffee shop, how were you able to finance that amount of money over a relatively short period of time, just over a year. And then I want to ascertain relevance to the following. You said, I informed Gundo that I would withhold payments until the investment was concluded. On the 9th of October, the day I made the first payment, I received the report from Polokwane Treasury after I had participated fully, and then I made the first payment. What is the relevance of that? Thank you, Chair.
The Honourable Trolep, you'll recall that as members of Parliament, we take oath, all of us, and all members of the executive are made to take oath or affirmation. So that is the oath we operate with until the end of the term.
Thank you.
The executive is not required to take oath when appearing before the committee. Honourable Swart.
Thank you, Chair. I think the point you've just made is important because you indicated earlier this is not an inquiry. Should we be having an oversight inquiry like we've done in the past, such as the ESCOM inquiry, where witnesses were put under oath for the specific evidence that they were leading at that time? But obviously, the point you make is correct, that the Minister is fully aware of what she indicates, could respond whether she's misleading Parliament. I think that's the point. She's fully aware that she's not under oath for this purpose, but she's exercising response to our oversight function. So I appreciate the clarity that you received in that regard. Chairperson, just from my side, I'd like to start with the NPA Act in particular. And given the questions that have been put to the Minister and given her explanation, I would just like to read to her Section 33 of the Act, National Prosecuting Act. The Minister shall, for the purposes of Section 179 of the Constitution, this Act or any other law, exercise final responsibility over the prosecuting authority in accordance with the provisions of this Act. Now, then it goes number 2, Section 2, enabled to exercise your responsibility, the National Director shall, that is obligatory, at the request of the Minister, furnish the Minister with information or a report regarding any case, matter or subject dealt with by the National Director in the exercise of their power. And it goes on in subsections, provide the Minister with reasons for any decision, furnish the Minister with information regard to prosecution, policy directives, etc. So I think, Honourable, through your Chair, Honourable Minister, it's very clear that you have substantial powers in terms of that Act. And I think that is the concern that the Honourable Breitenbach raised. We're not saying that there will be any intervention, but given the allegations and given the investigation into VBS and the large numbers of prosecutions, and now given what you have indicated to ourselves, and given the fact that Hawks are today further investigating, there is, in my view, a glaring conflict of interest. We're not saying that you will abuse your powers, but we will say the possibility exists given what has happened in the past and given the powers that you have. And that having been said, would it not be wise at this stage to consider, I'm not saying standing down or anything, but just how does one deal with that possible conflict of interest? You've denied that there is, but I think one sets out a very strong legal case that there can be, and given what has happened in the past. And I think that is a huge concern, not only to us, but people that are watching this in the public, the media, given the closeness of the investigation of VBS, the prosecution, and now the many questions that arise from this loan. So allow me then, if you'd respond to that, I'd appreciate that. Allow me then just to deal with the loan, and many questions have been asked, and we would appreciate it if it is possible for you to provide us with a copy of the loan agreement. Again, my colleagues have indicated it doesn't seem to make commercial sense to have entered that loan agreement, and you indicated, and the question was put to you, why didn't you approach a normal commercial bank? And And I would put it to you that the reason might be that you would probably not have got the repayment terms with a normal commercial bank. In as much as if we understand what you said, the repayment would only take place at the end of the enterprise, which was some 4 years later. If you entered the agreement in 2016, the payments were only made 4 years later. And I'm sure that no commercial entity would have entered to that. So then the question arises, why were you given such a preferential loan agreement? And I suppose the answer was the very high interest rate. But could you please comment, Honourable Minister, on the fact that 2016, the agreement was entered into, you had, and one hopes that if you supply us a copy of that agreement, it will say that the repayment only had to be made at some time in the future, which is suspicious. But on the 9th of October, the very day you received the report, that is a massive red flag. If I heard you correctly, the very day you received the report about the inquiry, that is the day you made the first payment. Was it not as a result of the report that you made that payment? The next payment is then very suddenly made on the 12th of November 2020, and then on the 7th of January 2021, in the total amount of 849. It could seem that it was as a result of the report and the fact that it was now a hard-hitting report impacting many, many people that the repayments were suddenly made. And I'd ask you to comment on those, because it does seem beyond coincidental that the same day you receive the report is the day that you make the payment. And if that is not the case, then why were payments not made before that date? That's all the questions from my side. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Trolip. Honorable Matafa.
Thank you very much, Chair, and much appreciation for allowing me to have a bite at the presentation at this stage. Let me start by greeting the Minister, the DM, the DG from the department, members and guests. Chair, let me join Honorable Breitenbach in appreciating the willingness by the Minister to subject herself to scrutiny by the Portfolio Committee. For us, this demonstrates your commendable commitment to transparency, accountability, and the highest standard of leadership. We truly appreciate that. But Chair, I think that the intention of today, well, according to me, does not seek to reopen investigations already concluded, because we have it on record that reports have been provided even to the Prudential Authority, which is the South African Reserve Bank. Then I'll further implore the committee not to turn this session into an inquiry akin to a Section 194 inquiry. It is also established, Chair, that the Hawks are still seized with the investigation processes around the areas that require such to happen. So in my engagement, I'm going to limit myself to what I think is the primary question that we seek to address. And that, Chair, is also found in your introduction. Given where the Minister is currently, maybe the question might be, is she fit to be in that office where she might be required to investigate or take decisions around those investigations that apply to people that can be deemed to have an inappropriate relationship with her? So my first question would be directly to the Minister, Chair, through you. Minister, can you assure this committee that should matters involving VBS land on your table, you will respond to them impartially, in a manner that does not compromise the investigation, in a manner that does not seek to suggest that you may be influenced to take decisions that a person who doesn't have any relationship with those that are being investigated wouldn't? The second question that I had, Chair, was initially asked by Honorable Dena, and Honorable Swart spoke to that. On the loan agreement, I think that wherever there's a loan agreement or a credit agreement, there will be paperwork. And I agree with them, maybe if such paperwork exists, it could be important that the committee is benefited with that document. However, Chair, I'm saying this with the full understanding that the National Credit Act also emphasizes the need to protect credit loan agreements with some level of confidentiality. So I would think that should that be the agreement of the committee, you will assist us in terms of if whether are we viewing the documentation in camera, or how then do we ensure that they are circulated, but equally they do not compromise that very important act by the National Credit Act. Chair, Honorable Swart also speaks about Section 33 of the NPA Act. Even though I know that I have asked the Minister if whether will she be able to act impartially, I think Section 179 of the Constitution also stipulates that an act must be legislated to ensure that the prosecuting authority exercises its functions without fear, favor, or prejudice. And that is elucidated more in Section 32, where the impartiality and the oath that members in the prosecuting authority must take. And one of the sentences in that oath, it says, a member of the prosecuting authority shall serve impartially and exercise, carry out or perform his or powers, duties and functions in good faith and without fear, favor, or prejudice, and subject only to the Constitution and the law. So having asked that question, I just wanted to say, maybe also let us not cast a aspersion around the NPA that it is easily influenced. It can be our view by the committee, because that also can reflect on what, as parliamentarians, we think about the institutions that are supposed to be independent. Last question, Chair. Maybe it would be prudent for the Minister to indicate, since assuming office, has a report around the investigation around the VBS matter been presented to her? Has she seen sight of such? And if you have, Minister, can you just indicate for us that you did deal with it in compliance with high ethical standards? Coupled to that is an intention from the Minister to fast-track those particular investigations and ensure that justice is served, as we have seen that some have been prosecuted and sentenced, so that the matter is brought to conclusion. Thank you very much, Chair. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes the first round of questions. We'll then allow the Minister to respond. You can respond from that seat to all the questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members, for the questions and engagement.
Take the mic close to you.
I'm used to standing when you are addressing at the House. It's not normal to sit. Thank you. Chair, it's quite a bit of questions, and some were relatively the same, so I'll club them together without really going through one. I was picking them as honorable members were making questions. The involvement in making investments. Councillors do not participate in supply chain management. The process that was engaged by Polokwane municipality was ran by officials. No involvement of the mayor. They advertise, they get responsible for, the MM gets responsible for the appointment of committees that will be the bid evaluation, bid adjudication, appoint. After appointment, Section 52 of the MFMA says all contracts, not one, all contracts that the MM would have entered into at a particular quarter must all be reported to council. So the report was not a VPS report per se, for starters. So what you do, you report all of them. If there are 20 in that quarter, you will report 20 of them, you put them in the table. Contract one was related to water, awarded to contractor so-and-so at this value, starting time or date or whatever, etc. That's where the contract management plan of council comes from and gets to be updated all the time. So there is no involvement of the mayor or any councillor. So there's no councillor, even if it's a MMC of finance, who will sit in the process of the appointment of any service provider. Gundu was not a service provider of the municipality. If you look into the definition of National Treasury and the FMMA, it states clearly that a service provider provides a service, gets remunerated or paid by council or government for that. Hence, the bid is called unsolicited. I'll make another example, which happens mostly in municipalities. It happens even in SARS now, where a company gets to be appointed to collect rates and taxes, the debt, on behalf of the municipality. That contractor does not get money every month on the basis that he has called 100 people. No. It's an unsolicited bid where you get a particular portion as agreed in terms of percentage, how much you have brought back. Let's say you have collected 100 rand and the contract says you get 2%, you get 2% of the collected 100 rand. Is the same as the broker fee. As you get business, it is on the basis of the percentage that you have agreed upon on the broker fee that you get paid. So not the exact typical definition of a service provider. And my view really still is they were not a strictly service provider as you define them, but they were providing a service, yes, to the municipality, not at the cost of council. So they are the ones, for example, in this instance, the committee and the finance office will look into the funds of the municipality and say, we have got a surplus fund of 2 million and we want to invest it. And then he will go out, get quotations on the basis of the interest rate, come present, and they make their own decision. We only get to be informed as council through Section 52 at the end of the quarter on all what would have transpired. In any, whether it's a water project or it's a road project, it gets to be included in Section 52. My understanding, which still is my understanding, was that Gundu is a registered financial service provider. Yes, they might have not, as I get to know later, that they were not accredited with the national credit regulation. My understanding also, on another hand, I've requested quite a number of times, either from my brother or anybody, can you loan me money? It does not necessarily have to be on the basis of a registration. Maybe loan is not the right word in the example that I'm making, but I'm saying I can ask you, Honorable Trollip, and ask, can you borrow me money on Friday? And you say yes, and on Thursday you kill your mom, You give me the money on Friday, the following week I get to know the money you gave me comes from an act that would have been. I loaned from Gundu, not from VPS. I loaned from Gundu. My contract is with Gundu, not with VPS. So that's where the distinction is. And I regret the harm it has caused the people of a vendor in particular, because mostly the beneficiaries of the bank and the depositors were coming from vendor. I'm not saying it's an action where if I look back on hindsight, I don't think one should have done things differently. No, hindsight is bedside. One would have done things differently, but I had no knowledge of the mechanics of the bank inside. The reason why I made a withdrawal, or I requested for a withdrawal, almost all the investments that were made, even the ones of Standard Bank, were made under the acting municipal manager. A municipal manager was appointed on the 1st of May of the July month where the withdrawal was made. So he gets appointed on the 1st of May. He starts doing rounds. He comes to report to me on our monthly Monday meetings. He says, one worry I have picked up is the investment. Not the other liberty or whatever. Well, of course, they were also having a very nominal return, which was another issue that he raised on the other investments. I'm going to check if they are a commercial bank. He returns, I think 2 days or 3 days after that, he says, I've made the verification, they are not a commercial bank. He writes to withdraw the funds from VPS on maturity. Maybe it may also be prudent to explain to members that the amount was not necessarily that it was 349 taken in 1 day invested. It was a 6 month short-term investment. You take the interest and sometimes return it at the same amount or in other different amounts. So the committee never sat in one time and decided to invest in VPS alone. How did I get to know that it was during the investigation? Because I did not have, as a councillor, the innings of, but they will have 200, give 50 there, give 20 there, give, and then reconvene again and do that. So ultimately, it became 300 and something for VPS. Even when you calculate for Nedbank, Liberty and whatever, it was at the range of around 300. Not that that justifies the question. So when I'm saying, I mean the investment, when I'm saying I then said to the MM, withdraw it, it was because it's a joint decision which we took before a council sitting. Right? We will then inform council. Otherwise, why would I have an expert appointed by council 2 months before, started in May, withdrew the money in July? Then I don't take his advice. In fact, if you look into the BDO report, not that every remedial action that is done, you will like it. Shame he's cited there. Because BDO said, you shouldn't even have waited for that 2 months. You should have withdrew it with immediate effect. You nearly lost. But in my view, you withdraw before time, you would have lost the interest of council. But he's part of the people who transgressed the officials. So the CFO, the deputy CFO, he was 2 months on the job, as I say, when he initiated the investment. So it's not that Gundu reported to me and then I said, withdraw. No. It was on the advice of a municipal manager who had just started 2 months. The interest, funny, even when we were looking at the transaction ultimately at the end, Honorable Trotip, if someone gives you money and you do not pay for about 3 years, as I said in my engagement, that Sylvanas only registered 3 years after that, being carried by a company under T5, which is also called Golden Threads, which was doing consultancy work, mostly in social facilitation, and a T5, which also had an interest in investment group, which was also doing work mostly in the construction, and which my brother was running. So I think that is the essence. Honorable Glenis Breitenbach, T5. My mom comes from a family of 5. And I don't know, by coincidence, all of them had girls whose names start with T's. There are 2 Tembis, myself and my elder sister Tembi. There's Tabiso, there's Tabane, and then there's Tutu. So we actually call ourselves something that I wouldn't mention in an official house, as a group of girls coming from that. And it's a relationship I value because I never had an older sister. All of them are older than I am. When you talk to them, they will tell you how foolish I have been growing up. So that's where the name comes from. And I'm glad you noticed that is not a normal, yeah. So it comes from a collection of sisters who have traversed life together. I attempted alone, as I indicated, that upon resignation from public service, I withdrew my pensions. I placed them with FNB. They placed them under Alan Gray, whatever they are called, but the Alan Gray Fund. The costs were as exorbitant as this cost. It was at that level. I actually even went some of my little minor savings that one does on a monthly basis, hope you die soon or whatever. I even went to Old Mutual where I had some. I inquired. It was not affordable for me at the time, and I wanted the venture. The payment in 4 years, I think I had explained it, that, and that's what makes the interest rate to be equal. But funny, even if you can go today, take that money, which I've done also, again, to check and correct and see if whether was there anything really that one I didn't look into. It came at about 2 points down from a calculation of a financial investment, which is a bank. The money that I took, the time I took, I kept with, and the period that I paid it back. Now, when I registered Sylvanas, I was almost getting ready to start with the payments, the repayments. It takes me into what Honorable Danas asked about the overall amount, and I will cover it now. The repayment, let me start it this way. When I was getting ready, then there were calls from National Treasury. In fact, their email, to be specific, was instructive withdraw, which came later after we had already withdrawn or made a notice to withdraw. It was in August, the money came in September. That's the time of the registration of Sylvanas, getting ready. Now it's an entity. It took about 3.5 years to build the entity to be able to stand on its own and have its own bank account. Otherwise, it has been trading under T5. Actually being subsidized to a large extent by what my brother was doing and the work that I was doing at Golden Threads at the time. Declarations. Declarations were made at the municipality. The declarations are not structured the way honorable members are asking, unfortunately. In fact, when I did my first declaration here in Parliament, I saw a huge distinction between a declaration that is made in council and a declaration that is made in Parliament. The declaration at the municipality, in fact, by the way, they should be appearing on the annual reports. So which means honorable members can go into the website. Obviously, you will not get the package of the declaration. You will get a summary, and it depends on how they summarize it. And sometimes AG finds a question, they are never really updated. But every councillor is supposed to declare, and it will write, what have you declared? Some instances value, some instances they wouldn't calculate and all that. But coming into the National Assembly, I did declare the business. At the time, the loan was long repaid. So, Honorable Trollip, to be exact, in council, the businesses were declared, not the loan. There is no declaration that asks for a loan. AG did try, I think, in 3 or 4 years ago to jointly with National Treasury to issue a sample of what municipalities must do in declarations. Honorable Trollip, I would like to make a correction, which I think is not only from what is written that I'm an old councillor. No, I've only been 8 years in council. He was my DM, by the way, he knows it. When I walked into Polokwane municipality, my first relationship with
All right, so we're going to leave it there then with the statement by Minister Thembi Semelane before the Portfolio Committee on Justice. I think by and large you've gotten a good sense of what her explanation is when it comes to the loan that she received from Gundo. What do you make of all of it? Well, those are thoughts and reflections you can share throughout the show. For now, let's take you to the news.
The top stories this hour: the Justice Minister denies corruption allegations and the SA Post Office warns of liquidation. A very good morning. Justice Minister Thembi Semelane says she did not have an improper relationship with the contractor employed by the Polokwane municipality, nor did she receive improper benefits. It emerged recently that Semelane received around a 575,000 rand loan from an accused VBS investment broker in 2016 while she was the mayor of Polokwane in Limpopo. Reports say that the funds were used to purchase a coffee shop in Sandton, Joburg. At the time, Gundo Wealth Solutions brokered investments on behalf of VBS Bank. After being summoned to appear before Parliament over alleged dodgy dealings with VBS, the minister presented a statement to Parliament in Cape Town.
I asked Gundu for advice on how best I could finance. And in those discussions, Gundu then informed me and advised of a loan product that they have that I could access. In consideration for the options loan, Gundu was not a service provider. There existed no conflict in my view in securing a loan from Gundu. I took a decision to proceed with the business. I'd like to draw to a close and affirm that there was no improper relationship. I requested for a loan. A loan was advanced.
Deputy Communications Minister Mondli Gungubele says that the government has promised to allocate a 3.8 billion rand to fully implement the business rescue plan at the SA Post Office. The entity has warned that it'll run out of money by next month, putting it at a risk of liquidation. The business rescue practitioners gave the warning in a presentation to Parliament on Tuesday. The post office was placed under business rescue in July last year. Gungubele says they are committed to ensuring that the post office should be run by competent people in order to survive.
Government committed to fund that rescue for no less than 3.8 billion. Where I'm sitting, the government made a decision to meet that undertaking. Government has to meet that undertaking. But however, we have also discussed with the BRPs that one of the things we expect them to do, that when government finally allocate that 3.8 billion, there must be a business plan which is of such a nature that when that money is allocated, SAPO will be less dependent on fiscals than it was before.
Police have discovered 2 burnt bodies under a bridge on the R57 road near Middelburg in Mpumalanga. Police spokesperson Donald Mdluli says the 2 bodies are believed to be that of last week's kidnapped victims in Leisdrift Farm. He says the discovery of the bodies came after the court appearance of 4 suspects arrested for the kidnapping incident.
Soon after the appearance of 4 suspects regarding the Leisdrift Farm incident, which happened a week ago, where the victims were allegedly assaulted, kidnapped. They were remanded in custody, and information came to the team from an anonymous caller regarding the bodies that were found. Indeed, when they went there under the R575 road, they found the burnt bodies of 2 individuals. And it is believed that this could be the bodies of the 2 victims that police were looking for. The investigation continues.
Workers' Union SAMU says it is pleased that the Labour Court will now hear the City of Tshwane's review application in relation to complying with the terms of a wage settlement. In 2021, SAMU and Tshwane agreed to a 3-year wage increase. According to the SAMU, the agreement would see Tshwane municipal workers receive a 3.5% salary hike in the 2021-22 financial year, 4.9% in 2022-23, and 5.4% the following year. However, the city has reneged on this, citing financial challenges, among others. The Labour Court is set to hear the matter on the 28th of November. And at least 17 children have died in a fire at a school in Nyeri, central Kenya. Police say the fire at a dormitory at Hillside and Darasha Academy has also injured 14 students. Local media reports that the victims are burnt beyond recognition. An investigation into the cause of the fire is currently underway. More from the BBC's Andrew Ochieng.
Officials said the exact cause of the fire remains unknown and investigations are underway to determine that. It is believed to have started at around midnight when most of the students were asleep. Emergency responders arrived at the scene to contain the fire, but reports say the flames spread quickly, making it difficult to rescue all the students. Although school fires are common in Kenyan boarding schools, where some are started by students during unrest, it is rare that they are deadly. In 2017, 10 girls were killed at a high school in the capital Nairobi when a fire burnt down their dormitory.
The top story, Justice Minister Thembi Simelane says she did not have an improper relationship with the contractor employed by the Polokwane municipality, nor did she receive improper benefits. For SAFM News, Kemudupi Makhalemele.
The National Thunder trust their game plan will trouble the Sparrow Hawks. However, the Togolese believe they will punch above their weight to secure victory. This is the Total Energies AFCON 2025 qualifier. Witness the beauty of African football. Equatorial Guinea collides with Togo on Monday, 9 September at 5 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game. Life is always good in the top half. However, it requires consistency. That's what the University of Johannesburg and First Touch ladies want to deliver. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Catch Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game. UJ Ladies FC versus First Touch Ladies FC on Sunday, 8 September at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Mzansi, play Powerball for the guaranteed 90 million rand this Friday and you could win the life-changing jackpot. Don't miss out. Play Powerball now and get in the game for your chance to become the next big multi-millionaire. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
The National Thunder trust their game plan will trouble the Sparrow Hawks. However, the Togolese believe they will punch above their weight to secure victory. This is the Total Energies AFCON 2025 qualifier. Witness the beauty of African football. Equatorial Guinea collides with Togo on Monday, 9 September at 5 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Mzansi, play Powerball for the guaranteed 90 million rand this Friday and you could win the life-changing jackpot. Don't miss out. Play Powerball now and get in the game for your chance to become the next big multi-millionaire. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
Jalo emini uyawaleta amathamsanqa
Mama way.
Just move it. We move it. We move it. Just we move it.
Awee! It's the Friday wind down. Okay. Oh, our listeners all know by now. I love the Friday wind down because out of that hectic session of Parliament and everything that's been going on this week, we actually get to have fun and we give ourselves the opportunity of having fun. And today we have, and we're very humbled, by the way, because we know these are the real celebrities of not only South Africa, but of the world, right? This is a internationally acclaimed choir. The Ndlovu Youth Choir is in studio with us this morning, and a very big welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. As you can hear, there are lots of voices. So let me introduce everybody that's around the table. Ralph Schmidt is co-founder, conductor, and creative director of the Ndlovu Youth Choir. Ralph, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy. Thanks for having us.
And they've been in studio for a short time, but one absolutely gets the sense of just the family that this choir has become. I'm going to go around joining us from the members of the choir. We've got Nhlanhla, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
We have got Lungelo, good morning.
Good morning.
We've got Lwandile, good morning.
Good morning.
We've got Madoda, good morning.
Good morning.
Siyabonga, good morning.
Good morning.
And Sandile, good morning.
A very good morning.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to this interview because I've also heard that you promised our producers a lot of songs. So I'm getting ready for all of that. Ralph, we have seen the Ndlovu Youth Choir become that quintessential South African story of just what is possible when we nurture the talent that we have in the country, when we expose that talent to opportunities, that they will put their best foot forward and really bring excellence to the international stage. I want you to tell us a little bit about where this journey all began. You were saying off air, you've known Sandile almost as long as you've known your wife. And that struck me. You talked about Lwandile, you've known her since she was 5. And and she's now 20. She's now 20.
Yeah.
So that is not an inconsequential amount of time, but it also says that you are on a journey of growth and also on a journey of life together.
We are, and it's an evolving journey. It's a journey that as we grow with one another, not just creatively and artistically, but the togetherness of the group, is so important. You know, we spend so much time together, but maybe taking it back to where we started. It was in 2009 as part of the Ndlovu Care Group, as a NGO operating in Elandsturn, which is in, I hope there's some people listening from Denelton, Kalanyoni, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. There in Limpopo, that's our hometown, those are our people. And it was started as a project to create music education for children in rural communities, similar to the standard that children in perhaps wealthier and more affluent suburbs in the cities would receive. And we carried on like that for a few years, and then we realized, there is a pressing major, and it's still a major problem with youth unemployment. And we realized, well, we've got this product. These guys have worked. I say product in the most respectful way. These guys have worked so hard and developed these skills. Perhaps we can turn it into a job creation project. Perhaps we can monetize it. Perhaps we can get gigs. The problem was when we first started looking for gigs, no one wanted to book us. But as like any new business goes, we needed one hit. We had one hit. It went a bit viral. We got invited to AGT. And we're now touring the world.
That's America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. And we're now touring the world. Last year we were in the States, all over Europe. We're in China, up and down the continent. On Monday we were in Zambia. 2 weeks later than that, we're doing a run in Netherlands, and we're in Carnegie Hall in New York.
Wow!
In October. So it really has evolved into a global touring machine. But you know, to me, the important thing is that we're not only creating once-off performance opportunities for people, because I always say if you, and that's actually a quote from Quincy Jones. I read his book 12 Lessons of Life and Music. It's a beautiful book, and Mr. Jones said it doesn't help showing someone, giving them an experience of like traveling the world, staying in a 5-star hotel, and then not equipping them with the skills to build on that. So, because then you're just showing a child what they can't have. So that is my dream for the group as we evolve, that everybody can take the lessons of excellence, of professionalism, of perfection that we have that goes into creating our performances and apply that to whatever career they wish to pursue after the choir.
Sandile, you've been there for a good portion of this journey of evolution. When you think back to those early days, speak to me practically about what life was like as a young member, as a young child in the community. Here's this NGO. When you think back, why did you want to join? What drew you to what was happening?
Well, when I think back, what caught my attention was it was a new program that we don't have in the community, as it was a new theatre that was built, and there were new things that we don't really have back home. And joining something different like a choir, you know, sometimes it seemed uncool and everything, but it just keeps us away from the streets, you know, that I knew that every Wednesday I'm going to go to the theatre, I'm going to be with Ralph, we're going to learn music, learn new things like even how to play djembe, and there's a lot of things that I could learn from Ralph and the whole program. So that's what caught my attention, and I never looked back from there because I could see the changes that it made. You know, I just became more disciplined in not just I had a purpose. Like I could plan my life on a weekly basis. That okay, from school I'm gonna go there, and then we're gonna rehearse, and I'd look forward to a new song, and then it wasn't as it was fun, and the benefits of that, it's now touring the world, now being on big stages, and then we just rehearse and not going anywhere. Just we meet every afternoon, we learn new songs, and we were just excited. And so this is just a bonus that's happening right now, that we are now getting to travel the world, be on big stages, and
Did you ever think about having a career in music? Is this sort of something that became clear, or is this where the journey took you?
You know, if I can take you back, I once walked past the theatre when it was built, and I had goosebumps. And I had this thing that I want to see what's happening inside there. So I knew that I belong there somehow, and I wasn't staying around that side. I was just walking past, and I could see this place, and I had this interest that I need to get there. I need to see what's happening. And ever since I walked in, I never looked back.
Wow. Lungelo, what would you say makes this choir so special? What makes this group so special? Because you all come from the same community. You grow up together. Your parents know each other, I'm assuming. But what do you think makes you so special?
I think what makes us so special is that we tap into so much in people's lives, emotionally, and we really get to connect with people through music, and we bring something different, something that people don't expect from choirs, because when you say a choir, people expect you to sing a cappella and then or gospel songs, and then you just go, but we bring something different, a different experience to people around the world. So I think that's what makes us special.
Let me come to the baby of the group, Lwandile. Are you the baby because you're the youngest here today, or you are the youngest in general?
I'm the youngest today.
When did you join the choir, Lwandile? Tell me a little bit about your story.
I joined the choir 2019. Well, Matota here is the person that I knew before the choir. So he's actually the one who suggested that I should audition.
He recruited you to the choir, basically.
He did. Oh, I was so nervous. I remember the day of my audition, my voice was so not warm, and it didn't sound good. And then I Googled, they told me somewhere that if I drink an egg, raw egg, my voice... to think I went and took an egg and I drank a raw egg just so that my voice can be clear in audition.
Okay, I need to know, was it scrambled or was it just
it was raw, but I joined 2019. I think it was July. Yeah, it was July. I auditioned. My daughter was the one who recruited me. And then, I was so nervous. I met Ralph, and then, the journey began there.
Wow, and has it been a good journey so far?
It has been. Oh, it has been. Explored so much, seen a lot, and still learning.
Yeah, girl, you're 20. You're still going to learn and learn and learn. My daughter, you are the recruitment agency of the choir.
If I see someone who's talented, I have to tell them.
And that's an amazing thing, right? Yes. The ability to be able to see the gift in others and identify talent in other people. Yeah. It's not something you must undermine, hey?
Thank you.
Not many people are able to do that. So Ralph must watch out. You're going to kick him off.
I would love that.
So, yes, tell me more, my daughter. Tell me more about just your journey in the choir as well.
Sure, it has been a long journey and it has been an amazing journey.
How long have you been with the Ndlovu
Right
choir?
now, I'm turning 8 years in the choir.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's your almost your entire primary school life, your entire high school life as well.
Yes, yes. When I came here, I had no experience. I could sing. I knew that I could sing, but I'm a better singer right now. When I got in the choir, I met guys who are older than me. They groomed me. They told me things. Ralph taught me some good techniques of how to sing, and it's just been a great journey, traveling the world, making music. I'd learned how to write. It's been a roller coaster.
Nkandla, what are the stories that you tell when you guys get back home? I imagine that the community is always asking questions, because now they go on YouTube, they see your videos with so many million views, and it's just, it feels like something right out of a movie.
So, do you know what? Every time when we come out from the country, when we come back home, everyone is tired. Like, we don't want to see anybody, but we're just tired. We just want to go and sleep. And then afterwards, okay, it's fine. When we went to AGT, when we came back home, we didn't imagine that we'll find 1,000 and 1,000 of people waiting for us.
Yeah.
So everyone was tired. Everyone just wanted to go and sleep. Then when we got out, we saw like everyone was standing out there. We saw our families. Everyone just, asking questions. We were overwhelmed. But then at some point, we just thank our fans and thank our families that they are here to support us.
You see, I told you that you guys are the celebrities. We just thank our fans, the thousands that come and wait for us at airports. I love it for you guys. We're going to continue this conversation in a moment. You've gotten a sense of the group. When we come back, I promise we'll absolutely have the music as well. For now, it's 11:30. Time for the latest news headlines.
Very good morning to you with the news headlines. Justice Minister Thembi Simelane has denied allegations that she had an improper relationship with the service provider appointed by the Polokwane municipality, Gundo Wealth Solutions. Police have arrested a 34-year-old suspect believed to have been part of a syndicate that kidnapped a family of 4 in Cape Town And Deputy Communications Minister Mondliku Ngubele says the government will allocate 3.8 billion rand to fully implement the business rescue plan at the SA Post Office. A full news update coming up midday.
The Bright Stars are on a massive mission to brighten the mood of the South Sudanese citizens with victory. But Bafana Hugo Cross say they have already bought an extra flight ticket to travel back home with 3 points. This is the Total Energies AFCON 2025 qualifier. Witness the beauty of African football. South Sudan tackle South Africa on Tuesday, 10 September at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Mzansi, play Powerball for the guaranteed 90 million rand this Friday and you could win the life-changing jackpot. Don't miss out. Play Powerball now and get in the game for your chance to become the next big multi-millionaire. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old and play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Mama. Hey Cathy, I saw them overseas. I think the judge there was Simon and they were impressed. I really love you kids. Umamzanelela etepen. I love you so much.
Of you wish you were in studio right now. I'm getting the personal serenade of the Ndlovu Youth Choir. They are our Friday wind down guests, and as you can hear, absolutely magical. Of course, we're also joined by Ralph Schmidt, who is the co-founder, conductor, and creative director of the Ndlovu Youth Choir. You know, Ralph, part of what I think makes the story of the choir so magical is that we have people every day in this country who start projects in different parts of communities that are disadvantaged, where they see problems and they're trying to solve those problems. And often, they don't get a lot of support to do that. And it becomes just a slog. And to convince people, that this is why it's a good idea. This is why we should support us. What do you think you have been able to learn out of the process of doing this work and staying committed to the work over the long haul before you had the big stages?
Cathy, to me it's it's a collaborative effort. You know, obviously there's an amazing team behind this, but I always say that I've learned more from the choir than I could ever teach them. You know, I grew up in the suburbs and the cities, and I went out into a rural area. I'd never really, you know, besides going on holiday with the family, seen how the majority of South Africans live and the challenges that many people face. But not just the negatives, but the positive, the joy, the music that's there, the soul that's there. And harnessing that potential and trying to transform it into something that can create opportunity has been the most beautiful challenge of my life. But it's not easy. It's not easy for everyone involved with the project. It's also not always easy for the singers. There's times where we sometimes have to take a step back to take two forward. And my message to people who are working in their communities, whatever you are doing, you are making a difference to the people's lives that you are working with, but they're also making a difference to yours. And when those tough times come, just keep at it. You know, we've got that, us South Africans, we've got that resilience. And you see it in, you just drive out here of the SABC and you go to the first traffic light. And there's guys that have to go to the market early in the morning to get their stuff and to try and sell their stuff. And they stand and they hustle, carry a heavy bag of avocados all day. And they've got that spirit to try and make something work. And we've got that in South Africa. So when those tough times come, just push on. Don't give up.
There's a lot of trust in the relationship that you have been able to foster with the choir, and I imagine that extends to the community as well. How would you say you've been able to do that? Because, of course, initially there are always, you know, apprehensions. Who is the stranger? What do they want? It takes a while to really settle. How did you manage to do it?
Just didn't stop. Just carried on. I think, to me, I always try and lead by example. So if I put in a big effort, I know that it will be, that is the standard that's set. I must say the choir has, every crazy project we've taken on, they've always gone with. You know, we've just done a remix of Bohemian Rhapsody, which is like totally un-South African, and we've made it South African. And when I took the song to the choir, they're like, Ralph, what's this thing? But last night at our show at Teatro, it got a standing ovation. And there is that trust. There is that, I bring it, and it's a trust that I treasure and value, because it can't be broken. I always say to them, I promise you, I will never make you do something that will not make you look good on stage. It might feel a bit weird at first, but just try it. And if it necessarily doesn't work, it's not because there was, you know, lack of trust or what have you. It was because, okay, well, let's try another approach or what have you. But it's built up over years, and it's leading. It's trying to where none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect, but trying to lead by example as far as possible.
You are a young group of people, right? I want to know, how do you guys manage the creativity, the different ideas that come from all of you in order to create the magic of the music that you do? Because I'm sure there are always different ideas floating around. No, let's do this. No, let's do that. I sing better. No, I sing better.
What I experience with this group, we are like a family. And like Ralph said, respect and leading by example. So we give each other a chance. You know, there's times we're youth, so sometimes we argue about some ideas and everything, but we always come to that conclusion of that idea that, okay, let's go with this one. Because it's always like that with the youth. So, but there's respect, and it's like a family, you know, like siblings. We are more like siblings. Sometimes we have that, but we come to that conclusion of getting that idea. We respect each other's idea, if my daughter comes with this idea and we feel it, like, ish, yeah, no, let's go with this one. But we do give each other a chance as much as we can at each other.
Hopefully Ralph is somewhere in the room to help bring it apart. Sandile, you must get a lot of requests from other youth groups and choirs in the country, who want advice, who want to know, how can we do what you're doing? What advice do you have for us? How do you handle that?
Well, yes, I do get a lot of that, but I'm just honest with them, I tell them that believe in the beauty of your dreams. If you feel like you can be like us, then continue, push it. And now there's social media, like we got to AGT through social media. And so I always say that put your stuff out there, there's TikToks now, there's everything. Hopefully someone's going to see you out there. I'm not going to say that, we stayed in the streets, we did this, we did that, and try to confuse them. I'm just honest with them that if you're a drummer, just post your videos playing, and it's going to happen for you. I'm not going to tell them lies. I'm going to tell them exactly how we made it out there, but putting effort and believing in what you do.
And the reality is that you've been at it for years. Lots of these choir members started when they were how old, Ralph?
Yeah, our youngest singers start when they're 12. So, most of the guys here started in their early teens. And that's also beautiful to see. Like Sandile is our senior member. He started when he was 14, 15. He's now 30. But then it's a mentorship. When younger ones come in, we've got 2 young little girls that have just joined, and it's beautiful to see how that ethos. Every organization has an ethos, an ethos of excellence, and that takes years to establish. And when you've got these senior singers there that can pass that tradition on, and that spirit of excellence and that ethos, it's not anything you can define or write or what have you. It's just there. And that's beautiful, seeing that skills transfer, and seeing these guys, some of them evolve on from being little kids in the choir to being senior singers and hopefully moving into management.
Madoda, what would you say has been the one experience that stands out for you so far in your journey within Global Youth Choir and the travels you have been on?
We have done a lot, but there was a time, I think last year or last of last year, we got an invitation. We went to Disney World.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was amazing. First time in Florida. The people, the fireworks, roller coasters.
Okay, do people stop you in the streets when you travel? They do, ne?
Yes,
when
some recognize us.
You guys are that famous, eh?
Some recognize us, yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Made new friends there. Yeah, the stage, the music, and the other people that we were performing with.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Ntlanta, when you think about the choir, and obviously there's sort of a collective vision that somebody like Ralph will be driving and steering, but for you as a young person who has the opportunity to carve whatever their life might look like because of the opportunity of being in that choir, what does that mean for you?
Well, I could say that, when you are a youth, you have obstacles that you come up with.
Yeah.
So other people are at the streets, they don't reach their dreams. So as for me, I thank God that one of my friends took me in and said, please come and join the choir. So for me, I could say that being in the choir taught me a lot, and it made me stay out of other things, like bad things, being on drugs, being an alcoholic, like reaching those dreams. I wanted to be a singer. So I started a church with my daughter.
I told you, my daughter is a national recruitment agency.
He's a big friend of mine.
I figured it out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we started at church. Then afterward, he's one of my big friends, the biggest one, because we started when we were small. So then being in the choir was very remorseful for us. So, and it took us very far. And my biggest dream was going to America. And we did go there. Even if it's not me personally, but being with the choir, I just thank God.
Wow, that's amazing. We're in conversation with the Ndlovu Youth Choir. Of course, you can also... Yes, I'm going to open the lines, not for long, for a little bit. 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial. 086 000 2032. Of course, you've already started sending through your voice notes and messages, but we'll take more on 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107. Yeah, I hope none of you have broken hearts, eh? Because if you have, the lines are open. Yeah, hopefully they know weekend specials, Ralph. Yeah, Sandile, my love. All right, I'm going to play some of the voice notes that you've already sent. I'm going to play some of the voice notes that you've already sent through. I'm going to keep the mic open, so I'm giving you the heads up because there's quite a few of you, so be mindful that the mic is open, but hear the voice notes that have come through.
Good morning, Giddy. I would only like to ask Ralph to explain to me, where does voter Kellerman fit in the Ndlovu Youth Choir? Thank you.
SFM, wow, the voice of this group, you can hear the talent, the deepness in their voices. Wow, cute. They are executing it marvelously. Sky is the limit. Keep it up. Nanglabana from Umzimkulu.
Hello, this is Cathy and the Ndlovu Youth Choir. You've got a fantastic group there in studio. I think they are my homeboys and girls because I'm staying in Gwandebele, the place called Tofanten Che. I think this is not far from where I stay at home because I used to go there at the Tunnelton. I think there was a doctor there. I don't know if they're still there. The doctor says called Tepperman. I used to take my father to that doctor. It's like a hospital. I think I don't know whether are they related to that hospital or what, but they are not far from where I am. And it's okay. So far now I'm staying in Pinoni because of work. This is May. Thanks, Katie and the group there.
All right. So they're nodding their heads. They agree. They know exactly what you're talking about, Sandile.
Yes, that's true. He's the founder of the Ndlovu Care Group.
Okay.
That had Ndlovu Youth Choir, because we are from an NGO which is called Ndlovu Care Group, and then it has different programs. Then we are one of those programs, so we know Dr. Templeman,
and it's still there.
Ralph?
Yeah, so Voter Kellerman did a collaboration with us on a song called Shape of You. So yeah.
And it's such a beautiful one, hey?
Yeah, so it was fun.
It's
We went out to
one.
and recorded it. And,
Yeah.
So Voter's an important part of our journey.
Denzel, you're calling us from Kimberley. Good morning.
Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Denzel.
I'd like to greet the choir as well and the conductor. I have one message, Kathy. There's a song that's Som Landela.
I've heard the song from Soweto Gospel Choir years ago, and I've learned it actually from them. And when I listen to the song, it reminds me, I think of this special choir. Even you, Cathy, even Lebo, Angela, and Tanya, you are so special. When you follow Jesus, that is what Mohlahlana said. He gave every one of us a talent, and certainly you did not put yours under a rock. You are making use of it. And when I think of that song, when I see you, I just want to praise God and thank God for people like you. You and your crew are included, Cathy, because you make a difference in my life. And if you make a difference in my life, you make a difference in every South African's life. So the Springboks are playing tomorrow. They are also making a difference in my life and millions of South Africans' lives. And guys, when you sing there for the anthem, I'm so proud of you.
Wow, Denzel! Thank you for that for that call, Denzel. Mohlahlana is the song that he was referencing there. Janusz, you're calling us from Cape Town. Good morning.
Hi, Cathy. Thank you for taking my call, and to the officials of the choir. What a group! What a sound! I'm unbelievable. It's really something pleasant to hear, to listen to this music, and there is no explanation from my side. But I would like to ask you, I've asked perhaps your officials as well, that, you are a recognized group. Would you please, maybe perhaps, talk to the minister he is a reasonable guy, looks like he is, and ask him or push him to promote more people like you. There are many people, many groups, many singers who are not recognized, and they are sitting there, and we need, perhaps, if you can influence him, because you are a recognized group. I cannot do it myself, who I am, and I am. But, please, can you do it? Because we are the country of people who singing.
So Janusz, they must encourage the minister to recognize what? Recognize artists.
Recognize artists and promote artists as well.
Including themselves, yeah.
And so if this group and officials can approach him, he is doing the sports now, for the villages and schools. But I think music is an important factor in our lives. So
okay.
Please,
all right.
Please. And also, I would like to have more mixed English and black people Xhosa Zulu songs, so I can learn something from that as well.
Okay, but they've got a lot of those songs, but it's fine.
Yes. We need more.
Oh, you need even more. Okay.
I've learned a lot of Zulu Xhosa. I mean, nakhuluma ngani Zulu, but after all the years, it's like we still call it Zulungu. But yeah, we'll try and do some more songs where you can learn. But I absolutely agree with you. We've got so much young talent in this country, and I think it's a collaborative effort. We can't just expect the Department of Arts and Culture to uplift every good singer. It's everybody needs to harness the power of social media. The communities need to also help those singers in that community, get them out. And from our side, I must say, Department of Arts and Culture have really supported us brilliantly and beautifully, and we're most grateful to them.
Nicholas, you're in Mamelodi. I'm squeezing you in, Nicholas, because we have to get at least one last song before we close up the show.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. You're live on the radio, Nicholas.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I just want to say I'm born in Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Is it legend? You can see they know the place.
They're all nodding their heads, Nicholas. They do know the place.
Yes. So I used to visit the center there to bring my sister there. So I say to Mr. Ralph, keep it up. I'm following your shows on YouTube the moment you were in overseas. Is Mr. Ralph still here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, man. Thank you for keeping our children out of many things.
Thank you, sir. They keep me out of many things as well. Don't worry.
Originally, I'm from Togoza in Kwandebele, Kwamhlanga, but I was born in Philadelphia.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes. I was there 2 years back at the center there.
Wonderful.
Next to Mute Mall, eh?
Yes, that's our mall.
Thank you so much for the call, Nicholas. I know Tando, I must read Tando's message because she's listening from Denilton. It says, morning, Cathy. I'm listening from Denilton. Super proud of the choir from the dusty streets to the world. Cathy, somebody else says, Cathy, I'm from KZN. 2 years ago, I drove to Mokopane via Denilton. When I saw a board written, the home of Ndlovu Youth Choir, I had goosebumps. It's what I was seeing. Sadly, I have never met them. So thanks for those messages. Unfortunately, okay, let me squeeze in Jeff's message from Ventersdorp, who wants to know, how did the choir change this classic Mbobe from its originality to be this hit? Ralph, I think that's for you.
Yeah, that's what we're always trying to, I think South African music needs to evolve. You had Mbube, which was the genre that preceded Iskatamia, which of course Ladysmith Black Mambazo did, and you had Solomon Linda before that. So we like looking at the groups that, before us, like Mambazo, and saying, how can we add our own interpretation and spin to it. So it's out of respect to those before us that we try and evolve the genre and give a modern twist to it.
And you guys do that so beautifully. The time was simply not enough. So I hope you guys are going to come back.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making time for us. We wish you all of the best. And we are all so very proud of what you have been able to do.
And if I could
Please
ask,
go ahead,
please, Cathy, if there's anyone in Gauteng or Joburg that would like to see the choir, this weekend, tonight, Friday night, Saturday, tomorrow afternoon, and Sunday afternoon are sold out. But Saturday night, tonight, and Sunday night, you can come see us at the Teatro at Monte Casino. Tickets available at showtime.co.za.
All right. Are we getting one last song?
Shosholoza.
EFC is live this Thursday. The bantamweight title is on the